What's up, guys? This is Hetsme, and I'm coming to you with a brand new discussion video. And I'm talking about, really, this one I'm going to talk about decks that I feel like you should be preparing for and getting their support. Obviously, like you can see the 5 decks right now, and one of them will probably seem a little off to you, but I'll explain it when I get to it. I did mention it before, and honestly, I should be throwing in another one with that deck just simply because um, it has been gaining popularity recently, and it's most definitely not going to get hit, and that's Infernoids. And for some reason, again, I can't search the damn thing. But yeah. So Infernoids, yeah, that'll be the first one I talk about. If you don't know what Infernoids do, essentially they banish from the hand and graveyard, and special summon themselves, and they determine like how they special summon depending on one, how many you summon, how many you banish, and two, how many where you're summoning from, where you're banishing from. So cards like Reasoning are very useful in the deck. Light Sworns are known to be splashed with them. It's a very good deck, and it's almost there. And once we hit the next format next month, that's really why I'm making this video, because it's quite obvious that at least in my opinion, that the ban list is going to be coming in October. So, yeah, so let's get into this discussion. The first one I want to talk about is Fluffles, Frightfurs, Edge Imps. This deck is going to get super consistent. If you haven't been seeing any replays or whatever, Asian Eyes has been hyping this up like crazy, but Fluffles are a lot more consistent now simply because of Fluffle Wings. Fluffle Wings is fantastic for the deck. It makes cards like Mathematician more viable within Fluffles, in the sense that you want certain cards in the grave, and then Fluffle Wings makes the deck extremely consistent simply because you get to draw multiple cards. If you control Toy Vendor, you can banish it from the grave, then target one Fluffle monster to your graveyard and banish it, and then draw a card. And then you can send one Toy Vendor you control to the graveyard, and if you do, draw one card while it's on the field. So that's very useful. One, it's also a Fluffle monster, so you can still use it for Frightfur fusions, which is awesome. So that's very, very good. It adds a lot of consistency to the deck, not to mention that Frightfur Tiger and Frightfur Saber Tiger just added that little bit of punch that the deck needed. Wolf is still viable within the deck. And then I've also seen variants with Dark Fusion. If you don't know what Dark Fusion does, it was originally meant for specifically for evil heroes, and however, it is really a generic spell card for fiend type monsters, and it's very, very useful for the Frightfur archetype because all other fusions are fiends. Dark Fusion, what it does is that it can't be targeted by spells or traps or any card effects whatsoever the turn that it's summoned. And really, you OTK in one turn. You get out Tiger, you get out Wolf, and boom, you win. Dark Fusion helps you with that OTK because it prevents your opponent from really disrupting it. And that's really, really, really useful for this deck, because this deck doesn't have a lot of answers to a lot of particular cards, even the generic back row, Fluffles have a very, very hard time dealing with. So Dark Fusion is very, very useful in that aspect. Bottomless Trap Hole is terrible against it's really, really bad against it's not really bad, it's really good against Fluffles. So Dark Fusion helps prevent that. And then I'm showing Yang Zings on here mainly because they were just reprinted. I did just do a deck profile on these guys. I think that now that we're starting to go into a new format, Yang Zings it's possible for them to just get a little higher on the stepping stool. I honestly feel like we're going to be seeing a very heavy Performa Pal Friends. Probably won't be until next year. But a lot of huge pendulum decks with magicians, a lot of Cosmos, and I can't remember the other deck. And we're gonna be seeing, yeah, and it's not quite there. So it's not quite there, but it's still very, very viable in the fact that it's yes, it still needs cards like Mistake to slow down decks to its level, but it's still a good deck. And the fact that it's cheap right now, It's not expensive whatsoever. It's a very budgety deck for a high rarity deck that it used to be more on the expensive side. This is a very good deck to pick up. Just one, either for fun or just like for locals or whatever, at least. So, yeah, Yang Zings that like pick them up. Like it's not a bad deck to get at all. So yeah. The next one is Cosmos. We know they're getting new support in the next one. If you haven't seen the leaks, we know that Cosmo Wicked Witch is coming out in the next set, and or I believe, yeah, one of the next coming sets. I'm not quite sure if it's the next set, but it's coming out soon. We're getting Cosmo Wicked Witch, and we're also getting Cosmo Saber, which is an equip spell for them. I'm not. Their effects have not been released yet, but I believe Wicked Witch does have the same effect where you as the low level Cosmo monsters such as Farm Girl and Good Witch, where you can banish it and then special summon a higher level Cosmo monster from your hand. Another deck that this might be a little bit on the riskier side for people who are a little bit more tighter on their wallet, but this deck really is not that expensive whatsoever to build. Is Kaiju's, and Kaiju's are very interesting because it uses your opponent's monsters against them, which is always fun. Essentially, it's they're kind of using Snatch Steal without using Snatch Steal. The fact that you are getting rid of their monsters, but they stay on your opponent's side of the field, so you're not actually switching their control. Um, but this deck uses really, really old cards such as Owner Seal and Remove Brainwashing, so you can actually get back the monsters that you are essentially summoning to their side of the field. Lava Golem has made appearances in this deck. Santa Claus has made appearances in this deck. This deck has been mixed in with ninjas, which I find really funny just because that is so stereotypical Japanese. But Kaiju's definitely an interesting deck. There are only 3 cards out right now. It's the Sticky String one, the Mad Flame, and then the Field Spell. It's still in a very interesting deck, so I definitely recommend you at least pick up those because they're not expensive whatsoever. It's I think like the cheapest you can get the Field Spell for is like 20 cents, and then the Kaiju monsters were like no more than 50 cents in most places. The really expensive cards are obviously the ones that are really, really old and haven't been reprinted, which are Remove Brainwashing and Owner Seal. Owner Seal, I believe, goes for like $4 or $5 at most, and then Owner Seal, like when Kaiju's were first announced, were shot up to $9. So yeah, Kaiju's are definitely interesting. So just look for them if you're not really seeing the potential in them. I do. I think they're definitely worthy, but yeah, I get the support cards now while you can. The last deck I want to talk about is Magicians. They are getting a what's it called, a stretcher deck at the end of the year. So which is Masters of Pendulum. It's been pretty hyped up. Like this deck is stupid consistent. And it is very, very good at popping back row and spell and trap cards on your opponent's side of the field, and then just summoning. The plus for this deck is that the support cards that are out right now, which can be used with deck, definitely not the best cards, but some of the cards that you can use are Stargazer, Time Gazer, Magician, which are the spell cards, Odd Eyes Pendulum, and that's really cheap right now, obviously, because it came in a tin. Not that I recommend getting that card because it looks fake as hell, but it's been reprinted like 4 or 5 times, so it's like 3, no, not 4 or 5, like 3 or 4. So it's gonna be an easier card to pick up, and then we also just got the 2 other Magician Pendulums in the most recent set, so that's definitely a deck. Oh, and I finally just remembered the last deck, Monarchs. They just got reprinted. I believe the secret rare, and the tins, the mega pack tins. So and they're not expensive either. They're not hard cards to get at all. Caius is probably the most expensive, and I think that's no more like nobody's selling that for more than $3. So it's very, very, very easy to deck to pick up. So at least for those parts, and then we're getting more cards for them later. There's even a Vassal out already, which is the one for the Frost Monarch. But regardless, it's as you like, the turbo deck is insane. I've played against it. It is stupid good. Very good at keeping itself from just being interrupted. So definitely recommend picking up the Mega Monarchs that are useful, such as Caius. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Do comment on this video because this is an open discussion, as always with my discussion videos. And as always, guys, Have a nice day.